Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nupehadda, and today I decided to do a video on my current project that I'm working on, Six Samurais. Now, this one is a 60 card build, and I'm going to go step by step here and explaining what I'm trying to do with this deck. So, pretty much, the first card you'll see is Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is in this deck for two reasons. One, she's able to work with Shien, or Great Shogun Shien, because she is able to negate the effect and not negate the activation, which means if you have people playing Pod Desires, Reinforcement of the Army, Foolish Burial, or anything of that nonsense, you just drop her while Great Shogun Shien is on the field, and that pretty much ends their spell and trap count in terms of how many cards or how many spell and traps they can play. And the second reason why she's in here is because I own 3 copies of her. Now, I don't put cards in my deck on here on DevPro or anything like that unless I own the cards or I'm going to be acquiring them. The only time I've ever broken this rule was with Nova Knights with Glory of the Nova Knights. But that was only because I've already had a pre-order of that. So the next card we have is one Elder of the Six Samurai. Him and Kagemusha of the Six Samurai go toe and toe to get out Shien quickly in the older days. Now you can use asceticism to bring either one of them out to go into the new Link monster we have right now. Two Tail, or the Two Tails of the Noah Knight. Ghost Ogre is pretty much the same deal with Ash Blossom, except Ghost Ogre deals with anything that activates on the field. However, she does not negate the effect, she just destroys the card that's doing it. But the thing of it is, it has to be a card that's already previously on the field. So I might switch this out later for Effect Veiler, or maybe with something else. So far, she's doing good right now, but the Ash Blossom is the better choice. Grandmaster to 6, you run one of him. He essentially can only have one on the field. You can asceticism him if you have Kazan with his power boost. So, plus, if he gets destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add a 6 samurai monster from your graveyard back to your hand. This includes himself, by the way. So, a great Shogun Shien. He is a card that most 6 samurai players in the older days would say not to play because at the time we did not have the resources to do this. But now that we have the new build that's going on, Great Shogun Shien is the best thing that can happen against pendulums or pendulum magicians. Essentially, you can either search him with the Two-Tail Nova Knight Link monster, or you can try to draw into him. And he pretty much shuts down pendulum plays if you can get him out as quickly as possible. There are times when he's a dead draw, but unfortunately, you're going to have that with any deck. So Kagemusha the 6 Samurai is the same reason Elder is in here. The only difference is that Kagemusha has an ability to redirect a targeting effect to him, as long as exactly one 6 samurai monster is being targeted by a spell or trap or a card from a spell or pretty much a card effect that is targeting a 6 samurai directly. And if I recall, it has to be exactly one. So if they try to snatch steal, bang card, I know. But if they try to snatch him and they're feeling like that, Kagemusha can take the hit for another samurai in that regard. So he's useful as protection for the most part. Legendary 6 Samurai Yinshi, you run one of him because this guy, Legendary 6 Samurai Kageki, can summon him with asceticism when he has this 1700 attack power boost. Well, he has 1500 attack power boost, but we have 1700 attack. But he is essentially in this deck because you can bounce a card on the field by banishing 2 6 samurai monsters from the graveyard as long as there's another 6 samurai with a different name on the field. Now, that might seem like a long process, but it was back then. But now, with the way that this deck is built, it's a lot easier getting 6 samurais onto the field. So you can bounce pretty much problematic monsters, spells, or traps that you need to get rid of. If I recall, however, it has, or I'm sorry, not a spell switch house, but a monster. I'm getting right ahead of myself here. And it's also close to midnight, so. But pretty much you can bounce any monster on the field as long as they can be targeted to return back to the hand or to the extra deck or whatnot. Now, running 3 Kagekes because him being able to bring out a secondary monster onto the field is pretty nice. Also, he has a 200 attack on base, which means he works well with Secret Six Samurai Fuma, which we'll get into in a second. 3 6 Samurai Kazane. You need him because he's an able body to be special summoned from your hand to the field as long as you have control of a different 6 Samurai with a different name. If you have a 6 Samurai with a different name and you have 3 of these guys in your hand, boom, 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 you're going to get 3 of them. Legendary 6 Samurai Mahoshi. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I do apologize, but you all should know by now that I'm bad with names. Originally, they were not in here. I do have a friend who I went to locals with um, this last Thursday, and he tried to help me scaling down 6 Samurai to a 40 card deck. I understand his reasonings, but I want to keep a 60 card deck, and he did give me some ideas that I need to work with. So I took what he thought that I needed to do and everything and implemented it into what I needed to do for the deck itself. So I'm running 2 of her and 2 of her counterpart, Sheena. Um, we know about the name thing. Leave me alone. Red and blue. The red and blue combo is pretty much in this deck. Though I'm not a master of the red and blue combo, I've never cared about the combo, but I will utilize them for the combo if necessary or go into 2 tails of the Nova Knights so I can get the resources going. Secret 6 Samurai Fuma. He is essential for this build now. You run 3 of him. So what's going on here is you're going to be summoning him with the Nova Knight Link monster by sending an equipped spell card from the deck to the grave to get him out as quick as possible. And there's another warrior that's a level 1 in here, but you don't really want him to be on the field unless you absolutely have no choice. I wish he was an earth monster because that would make Barkion so much better, but we have to work with what we got. Also, if he's in the graveyard and exactly 1 6 Samurai monster on the field will be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish him from the graveyard and save them. So, Seeker to 6 Samurai Gimba. He pretty much is just in here for Spirit of 6 Samurai to bring out. Whenever he's summoned onto the field, you can add a 6 Samurai monster that's in your banish pile back to your hand. And he does the same way. All the secret 6 Samurai monsters have the same graveyard effect, so there's no reason for me to go over that. He's not important in terms of a necessity for the deck. However, he is a statism target to bring out Spirit. Then we got Secret of 6 Samurai. Hit the girl. But she is more essential to this build. You can banish 2 6 Samurai monsters from field or graveyard to special summon a 6 Samurai monster from your grave. Now you can get legendary 6 Samurai Cheyenne from the grave as long as he was properly summoned. So we'll work with that. Legendary 6 Samurai Kenru or Kenzuru names. He's the only 1900 attacker in the 6 Samurai archetype. He is an Earth and a warrior level 4, which means Missing Xavier Invoker will be able to get him out quickly. And when and not if, and that's the big thing here, when he is special summoned, you can add a 6 Samurai monster with a different attribute than the attributes that you are controlling on the field. So if you have 2 tails, you bring him out with Missing Xavier. You have an earth and a light that you cannot search for, but you can search for any other attributes. We don't have divine yet, so we're waiting on that. Cheyenne Squire. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, you don't need to play this card. Well, you can be right on that. However, I like this guy. I liked him in the beginning, and I'm going to like him now. And this is my build. If you think you do a better 60 card 6 samurai build, please, put it on video, post me a picture or whatnot. But he has two purposes here. First of all, he allows me to get Barkion out easier with Shine's Dojo or with the two tails of the Nova Knight Link monster. But also, he has a protection effect that I can grab when I summon the Nova Knight Link monster and just grab him for a later date. Pretty much, you discard him during the damage step, um, and the 6 samurai monster that's battling the other monster for the remainder of that turn, he cannot be destroyed with battle. So he protects a 6 samurai monster from battle for that turn, which is good. So you go into the Nova Knight Link monster, you add Shining Squire to your hand, because if you're playing this properly, there's two things going on. One, you're going to go for game in that turn, and you're not going to need them anyway, which also allows Shining Squire to be the target, which means you don't have to waste the search capability on another monster, because whenever you search with the Nova Knight Link monster, they cannot be special summoned or use their effect the turn that they are searching for with that name. So Cheyenne Squire is going to be the best choice for you when it comes to that. Plus, if someone tries to battle your legendary 6 Samurai Cheyenne or anything else that you want to keep on the field, you can just drop him during damage step, and he will not be the 6 Samurai monster will not be destroyed at least by battle. They can still try to destroy him by card effects. If it's a target effect, Secret 6 Samurais are going to protect that. But I feel like that he is an asset that I need. He's a one-of anyways, so we can at least appreciate that he's a one-of. Spirited 6 Samurai, he allows you for more draw power, plus he has a 500 attack and defense bonus, and if the 6 Samurai monster will be destroyed by battle or by card effect, he can detach himself to be destroyed. And lastly, of the 6 Samurais, it is the legendary 6 Samurais, Zanji. Zanji is one of my two favorite 6 Samurais from the original set. The other one would be Iru. His purpose is pretty much to get this guy out, or vice versa, and he can blow up any monster after he battles with them, so long as there's another 6 samurai monster on the field. Even if he dies, he's going to take someone with him. However, because of the secret 6 samurais now, he can target the other 6 samurai with a different name on the field to be destroyed, and the secret 6 samurai will protect them. So that's always nice. 3 aestheticism in the 6 samurai. You target a 6 samurai monster on the field, and you special summon a 6 samurai monster with a different name but with the same attack power onto the field. But then at the end of the turn, the original 6 samurai monster you targeted will be destroyed. So Fuma into this is going to be beneficial to you in the long run. Because what happens here, and I forgot to mention, Fuma, when he dies, he can special summon a 6 samurai monster from the deck, excluding himself. And he doesn't have to be in the graveyard. He can die and be banished. He can die and go back to your deck or whatnot. But he'll go off. And that's where asceticism comes in, and that's where double-edged sword techniques comes in. Now we're getting into the engine. 2 of the broken bamboo swords. Now, my friend who tried to suggest that I go into a 40-card deck mentioned that I should not be playing these. I should only be playing this and this. My argument is this. I've tried playing at one of these at a 40-card build. I prefer running at least 2 to 3 of these guys at best. I'm so far sticking with 2 because that seems like a well-round number. But if you're in a situation where you've already sent these to the graveyard and you got these, but you can't search for these, this has no point at the moment. You want to send these to the graveyard so you can grab one of these and one of these. But I'll run 2 of him because he is an important asset to the engine. Cursed Bamboo Sword, when it's sent to the graveyard, doesn't matter from where, it has multiple times, you can add a Bamboo Sword with a different name to your hand. So you can search for this or Golden Baboon Sword. Golden Baboon Sword will allow you to draw 2 cards when there's a Baboon Sword equipped spell card on the field. Gateway to 6. This card, I stated before in one of my videos, I don't want this card to go to 203 now because Konami would destroy it. At the same time, however, Gateway at 1 is perfectly fine right now. And I would dare argue that I do not need Gateway to 6 in this build anymore. But I will because I can abuse it. And I'm willing to abuse a card like this because it is my favorite archetype. So, Gateway to 6, for every 6 samurai you summon onto the field, it gains 2 counters. You can banish 2 counters, 2 Bambushi counters on the field, on your side of the field, and get the following effects. 2 counters, target a 6 samurai or a Shin effect monster, and gain at 500 attack points. 4 counters, add a 6 samurai monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. 6 counters, target a Shin effect monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So, yeah. Reinforcement Army, grab 1 level 4 lower warrior. That's a staple for anything. Shin's Dojo. This is pretty much to allow you to get Fuma out onto the field as quickly as possible if you only got 1 6 samurai in your hand. However, you can get Shin Squire as well. And if I recall, you can also summon a Shin, a Great Shogun Shin if you get 7 counters on this guy. But you normally are not going to do that. The highest I would go is at least 4 counters, so that way you have protection. Reinforcement army for 6 samurais, grab a Shin Smoke Signal. Pretty much a reinforcement for army for us for level 3 or lower 6 samurai monsters. Now important. Was important back then when it first came out, but it's now more important because we are more focusing on level 3s and lower than we are level 4s at the moment. 6 Samurai United, the second greatest draw engine I have in this deck. I personally believe Golden Baboon Sword is, but this is more of a better setup. Soul Charge. Now, I originally had Monster Reborn and Soul Charge in here, but Monster Reborn doesn't do what I need to do versus what I have in this deck. I have Gateway to 6. I have 3 double-edged sword techniques. And I also have resource management. So Soul Charge is a better choice when I want to go into bigger plays, and it allows me to go into higher link monsters. Upstart Goblin, the extra draw power. You can never have too much draw for this deck because in the past, 6 Samurais had the bad habit of not having enough hand advantage in their time of need. So this deck solves that problem big time. 3 double-edged sword techniques. Special summon 2 6 samurai. Or you have to target 2 6 samurai monsters in the graveyard and special summon them. Even if they crow you or whatnot and get rid of one of those targets, you can still summon the other monster because you first had to target them as the cost. It's weird saying that, but it's pretty much how it acts. During the end phase, they get destroyed, and those monsters' attack power will be your damage combined. If you can get 2 Fumas onto the field by double sword technique, you'll take 400 points of damage, but you get 2 special summon monsters onto the field from the deck. So ideally, you want to go with this guy and possibly anything that has some sort of ability to get into what you need. So fun times with that. And of course, we have Solemn Strikes at 2 and a Solemn Warning. I do not like Solemn Judgment in this current format. I believe Solemn Judgment will get you killed more often than not. There are some people who can use a Solemn Judgment correctly and not die from it, but I'm not one of those people. I sometimes make mistakes, and I will admit that. So I'd rather be paying these smaller costs and dealing with what I have to deal with than paying one big cost and lose because of it. Now, the Magician, of course, Whenever she's summoned, whatever she is targeting with her link monsters will go back to the extra deck or hand, depending on what they are. But whenever you summon or summon back into one of those link marks, you can activate her effect, and depending on the link monster's link number, depends on how many cards you send to the graveyard from the top of your deck. But the thing with it is, you can declare a card name, and if one of those cards is what you sent to the grave or excavated to the grave, you can add it to your hand. So essentially, you're going to search for gateway or anything of importance from your deck to your hand. You might not always get it because, you have 60 cards to deal with. Well, minus whatever you're going to have by the time you get her out, but you have to at least be understanding of what you're going to have in your deck that you need to grab. If you already have Gateway, just call something else. And if you're lucky, you'll be able to send these to the grave and be able to get those. Decode Talker, he's a staple for this deck for right now. He pretty much deals with problematic things, especially becoming a 2300 or 3300 attacker out of nowhere, or a 3800 attacker. So he's good. He has some form of protection. Two Tales of the Noah Knights pretty much requires 2 warrior monsters. Whenever it's link summoned, you can grab a warrior monster from your deck to your hand. You cannot summon it or use its effect for the remainder of this turn. Now, I said for the remainder of that turn. I didn't say for this turn, because you can search for a monster that you previously used the effect of, like Kigeki or something of that nature, and grab it later on with her and not be able to use it for the rest of the turn. So, also, you can send equip cards from your deck to the graveyard with different names, then summon a warrior top monster from your deck equal to its level versus how many equip cards with different names you sent. So you send 1 equip card, which is going to be Cursed, to get Fuma. Curse goes off, allows you to grab what you need. So, yeah. Plus, she is a Link 2, which means Link 2 and the Fuma will get you a rank 3 monster like Decode Talker. Or, when we get down the line, we'll show what else. Legendary 6 Samurai Shien, we have 2 of him. He is an obviously staple of this deck. Allows you to, once per turn during any player's turn, to negate the activation and the effect of a spell or trap card on the field. Not counter traps. And if he would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, he can destroy 6 armor on the field instead. If it's Fuma, you're going to get another 6 armor out of it. If it's not, you have Secret 6 Samurais in the graveyard, hopefully, to be able to protect the other 6 armor monsters. So essentially, you're keeping your monsters on the field. Missing the next Saber Invoker, he pretty much searches for a level 4 warrior that's Earth, which is pretty much this guy all the time. So Notorio Barkion will negate trap cards by banishing 2 cards from your graveyard to negate their activation. He requires Earth Tuner and Earth Warriors, which we do have. Notorio Beast pretty much does the same thing as Barkion, except you banish or you send 2 cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard to negate the activation of spells. Now we go into this guy. This is the Skull Dread. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, but he's a Link 4 monster. Depending on how many monsters you use with different names to summon him, depends on his effect. 2 or more monsters that are normal supposed to summon into the monster zones that he's pointing to will gain 500 or 300 attack and defense. 3 or more, once per turn, I can special summon a monster from my hand. And 4 or more, when this card is link summoned, you can draw 4 cards and return 3 cards from your hand to the bottom of your deck in any order. He is resource management, so that's all he needs. Tri-Gate Wizard, he's a Link 3 monster. He requires 2 or more monsters except for tokens, and he gets the following effects. 1 or more, if a monster is co-linked to this card, battles your opponent's monster, any battle damage that inflicts to your opponent is doubled. And to explain this, co-link means that one link monster and another link monster's arrows are pointing at one another. So that's a co-link, if you're not understanding that terminology. But two or more, once per turn, you can target a card on the field and banish it. That's always nice. Or three or more, once per turn, when this card or effect is activated, a quick effect, you can negate the activation. If you do, banish that card. So protection in a nutshell. Trish, or Trishula of the Ice Barrier, or Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier. I should be proper when it comes to that. A synchro summon monster. Whenever it's synchro summoned, you can banish a card from the grave, field, and hand of your opponent. So that's always nice. And she's easy to make. So, and lastly, Underclock Taker. Two effect monsters. Once per turn, you can target a face-up monster this card points to, and one face-up monster your opponent controls. The opponent's target loses attack equal to the attack of the monster this card's pointing to until the end of the turn. Pretty much, this allows you to do more damage. And if you co-link this with this, and possibly anything else that requires co-links, you can get a lot of damage going. But you might notice I only got 13 monsters right now. Excuse me. I'm still trying to work two more link monsters, exceed monsters, fusion monsters possibly, or synchro monsters into this deck. I don't have a proxy dragon, strangely enough. It could be the simple fact that I didn't view it, for me, at the time as valuable because I was always working with stuff I had. And that's pretty much my mindset on that. If I got a proxy dragon, it would definitely be in here. But as of right now, I do not have a proxy dragon. I will try to get one for my locals or maybe get a 10. But I also did not want to get Pod Desires. So, and I'm pretty sure he was part of that deal as well. If not, then I'll just get a 10 and be done with it. But Proxy Dragon will probably get in here later on. I might also use Link Karibo in here because I did acquire one a long time ago. So it all depends. Maybe y'all can give me some ideas of what I can do. Now, before anyone says, well, let's see if we can reduce this to 40 cards. No, this deck stays at 60. If you have a problem with it, I mean, well, there's 40 cards, 6 Samurai bills around. I use the Bushi engine in here because I think it's the most superior of right now. People are going to say True King or True Draco is going to be more superior. That's their view. I mean, it's a possibility that it is or not, but I view this being more superior because you have faster resources, you can recover a lot easier, and you can actually slow your opponent down if you need to. This does have a good grind to it if need be, or it can go fast. Plus, you have protection with Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre, and the Secret 6 Samurai monsters. The only Secret 6 Samurai monsters that the True King or True Dracos are using is Fuma. And while I appreciate them trying to evolve 6 Samurais, I feel like eventually that build will go more towards True Dracos, True Kings, and 6 Samurais will just be the engine. And that's not something I can accept for myself. I don't believe 6 Samurais for me will ever be an engine. There are things that can make an engine out of this. For other decks, it's slim, but it happens. But all in all, I love this archetype. I've always have. It's my favorite archetype in the world. And I cannot justify bastardizing it for another archetype. A lot of people are just going to say, well, I mean, that's how it evolves. And I say no. It's going to evolve the way I want it to evolve. And in contrast, a bamboo sword would be a sword that the samurais back in their times would have used for practicing before they used real blades. You know, when they was first starting out and everything like that. The lessons that you learn how to use. Now, Ash Blossom and Ghost Ogres, they are more as protection, if anything. And I view them as the spirits that are watching over the 6 samurais. I know mythology and all that whatnot, but And of course, you have Spirit of Six Samurai. It's one of my favorite equip cards. But damn it, Konami, why could you not allow him to be able to clip from the hand? He is the most slowest utility monster we have right now. But I also like Shane Squire. I've liked him in the past. I appreciated the Fuma came out as a Six Samurai monster that we can use. But if I'm able to get Squire in here, that's perfectly fine for me. So this is my deck currently. I'm going to try to get 2 more cards in here. I do not know what it's going to be, but I like to see what y'all's opinion about this is. And y'all have a good night.